Have you ever wondered why your brain just randomly decides to torture you with awkward memories from your past? Well, in this explainer, we're diving deep into the source material to explore exactly why our minds do this, and more importantly, how we can finally stop that exhausting loop. If you've ever felt, held hostage by your own memory, we're going to break down the precise psychological techniques to rewire that pattern. So let's just dive right in. Okay, picture this. You're just chilling, right? You're sitting on your couch, doing absolutely nothing, completely relaxed. And then out of nowhere, your brain taps you on the shoulder and says, "Hey, remember that incredibly embarrassing thing you said to that person 7 years ago?" Just like that. Boom, your peace is entirely shattered. It's such a bizarre and universal experience, isn't it? Like, why does that happen? Why does the brain seemingly go out of its way to dig up some dusty, awkward moment from a random Tuesday nearly a decade ago? It's honestly like having a split personality. One second you're totally calm, and the very next you're physically cringing. Your shoulders tense up, and you literally feel like you're stuck reliving a personal horror movie. It's this massive, sudden shift in your whole physical state. And you're just sitting there asking yourself, why do I keep remembering this? It really feels like a glitch in the system. But as we're going to see, it's actually the exact opposite of a glitch. Here is the absolutely fascinating science behind that awful feeling. Your brain isn't actually trying to torture you for fun. When it brings up these memories, it's firing off what evolutionary biologists call a social survival signal. Basically, embarrassment is an evolutionary mechanism. It acts as this internal alert system that's specifically designed to prevent you from repeating social mistakes. Your brain is just trying its hardest to make sure you stay in the good graces of the people around you. To really wrap our heads around this, we have to look at the massive gap between human history and our modern world. Back in tribal days, being rejected by your group wasn't just a bummer. It could literally mean death. You absolutely needed the tribe to survive the elements and predators. So your brain evolved to remember social mistakes incredibly clearly. But today, rejection usually just means things get a little awkward. The stakes have completely plummeted, but your brain's alarm system, it's still operating on that ancient life-or-death hardware. It's essentially treating a spilled cup of coffee like a saber-toothed tiger attack. And that brings us to a really crucial realization. Your brain isn't trying to torture you. It's actually trying to protect you. This brilliantly illustrates why those embarrassing memories feel so incredibly sharp compared to your normal everyday memories. Your brain essentially took a bright neon marker and tagged them as super important. Do not mess this up again. It's kind of like a misguided form of self-care. Your brain is just being a little too overprotective. But here is exactly where the system goes wrong, and where that overprotection becomes a real problem. The core issue is that your brain doesn't actually know the difference between a real, present-day threat and a harmless, lingering memory from the past. It treats the mental replay with the exact same urgency as a real-time event. It's a total false alarm. Your mind is essentially time-traveling, but tricking your body into thinking the past is happening right now, right there in your living room. Because your brain confuses the past and the present, every single time you replay that harmless moment, your nervous system actually activates as if the danger is unfolding right in front of you. That tight chest, the heat flushing your face, that visceral, physical, cringy feeling, that is your nervous system flooding your body with stress responses over a completely imaginary threat. It's this powerful, physiological reaction to what is purely just a cognitive pattern. Okay, so we know why it happens, and we definitely know why it feels so bad, but we don't have to just accept it. The source material gives us some really simple, targeted psychological techniques to finally break this loop. We're going to look at exactly how memory, emotion, and identity interact so you can take back control and stop reliving these cringy moments once and for all. The framework gives us exactly 3 actionable steps to break this painful psychological loop, and they are normalize, change meaning, and interrupt. It's a highly structured, super straightforward approach that you can literally start using the very next time your brain decides to ambush you with that memory of an awkward handshake from 2016. Let's break down each of these steps. Step 1 is to normalize the experience. Listen, absolutely everybody has embarrassing memories. Self-awareness is just a universal human trait. But the crucial point here, and this is something we almost always forget when we're stuck in our own heads, is that most people don't think about yours. Actually, only you do. Everyone else is way too busy worrying about their own embarrassing moments to dwell on yours. Realizing that you are literally the sole audience member for this replay instantly strips away so much of its power. Step 2 is incredibly powerful. You have to change the meaning. You need to shift your internal narrative. The old thought is usually something super dramatic, like, "Oh my gosh, that was horrible," or "I am such an idiot." The new thought you need to substitute is simply, that was human. Replacing the word horrible with human instantly reduces the emotional intensity of the memory. It reclassifies the whole event from a catastrophic failure to just a normal, everyday byproduct of simply existing and interacting with other people. And then step 3 is the tactical maneuver. Interrupt. When the memory pops up, the absolute worst thing you can do is fight it or panic. Instead, you gently interrupt the replay. You literally just say to yourself, okay, brain, not useful right now. You acknowledge the alarm, label it as unhelpful, and then immediately redirect your focus to whatever's actually happening in your present environment. You're basically thanking your brain for the warning, dismissing the alert, and just moving on. And here's the real secret to making this stick. Repetition rewires the brain. You probably won't completely cure yourself on the very first try, but by consistently executing these 3 steps, normalizing, changing the meaning, and interrupting the loop, over time, a real shift occurs. Your brain eventually learns that this specific memory is no longer a survival priority. Because you stop reacting with a massive stress response, the brain stops flagging it as important, and it finally, blissfully, just lets it go. Understanding your mind truly is the very first step to mastering it. Now that you've got the psychological tools and the evolutionary context to silence your brain's false alarms, I want to leave you with this. Which awkward moment from your past are you finally going to stop cringing over tonight? Take back your mental real estate and let those old memories fade away.